Hey folks, this is on the bottom of the deck. I have been, I don't know, sickly for the last, oh, that card's gonna be important. For the last couple of days. There's been a change in the seasons, for sure. I mean, there's been, I don't know, something happens with the weather. I think sometimes where my head just wants to decongest. With that being said, I've been feeling really low energy, just kind of ugh. Today I'm feeling a lot better, but I would say over the last I don't know, for a little while, last 3 or 4 days, I've just been feeling yucky. And so I am going to make a point of going for a walk later on, getting some sunshine while it's there. But until then, I'm going to do my weekly tarot reading for y'all. Let's get going right off the bat. And then we had Lovers on the bottom of the deck earlier, and so Knight of Cups. Well, it's hard not to think about that as some sort of romantic intention on the horizon or happening right now. I mean, this is first card out the gate, right? King of Cups. Okay. Somebody has a very open heart right now. And really is putting their best foot forward. And this doesn't have to be necessarily like a full-blown romantic sort of thing, but this can be just making an effort to connect, right? I mean, King of Cups suggests that there's a certain amount of tact, strategy, even. Not necessarily guardedness, but there is a sense of, I just don't want to mess this up, right? So let's see here if there is, I'm feeling like between Knight of Cups and King of Cups, these are two different entities, right? Interacting with each other. The Devil card. So these two could be caught up in something, right? This is not necessarily, doomed. This isn't necessarily some sort of infernal relationship, but there does seem to be a bit of friction going on. And it could be, going back to what I was saying earlier with King of Cups, that there's just this guardedness aspect that is creating this friction. And creating this sense of, yes, maybe we are meant to be together, but is that what I want? Perhaps they want somebody else. Right? And I'm referring particularly to this King of Cups figure here. The Moon, right? That was the next pull. So that to me, combined with the Devil, implies that there is a certain amount of lack of awareness, I would say, particularly on the part of King of Cups. And maybe, Knight of Cups is sort of unaware of how brash they are, which is usually an issue with Knight of Cups generally as a persona. You know, and this goes back to, you know, King of Cups is definitely more passive than a Knight of Cups type personality. I've said this before, I'll say it again. I always think of Knight of Cups as sort of, if you ever watched the cartoon Johnny Bravo, just very like overt, in your face, coming off a little thick, right? And the King of Cups kind of personality is more like, look, I like you. That doesn't mean I want to marry you. The King of Cups is choosy, makes choices, is clearly not certain about how they feel about this Knight of Cups figure. Not standoffish, just not sure. Is worried about, you know, what am I getting myself tangled up in here? I really think for King of Cups, they feel like there's a lot at stake here, whereas the Knight of Cups is not worried about the stakes at all. And so we're gonna do a little clarifier here for King of Cups. Is King of Cups open to what is being offered here by Knight of Cups? Three of Wands. King of Cups is waiting. Is aware, right? But a lot of that awareness is still underneath the surface. Maybe having dreams about this person that's arriving. May not want to, you know, acknowledge the dreams that they're having. Like I said, it makes this King of Cups figure uncomfortable. You know, and like, you know, in this reading, this could be same gender, but this could be two different genders. This could be whoever, right? This is just describing sort of a masculinized energy. This is like a more receptive, and this is a more active. And, you know, this really confirms that receptivity and that passivity that the King of Cups has in this scenario. So there's a lot of uncertainty as to whether or not this thing is going to come together. I guess the question I would ask then for Knight of Cups is the Knight of Cups intentions true? Is there, you know, are there issues here? Seven of Pentacles. That's an interesting card to pull for Knight of Cups. Knight of Cups is invested, is willing to do the work, and sees a trajectory. Has seen how things have developed between themselves and King of Cups. Really feels like there's something here, you know, and is willing to like see where it goes. And honestly, King of Cups is too. But like I said earlier, we just, between the interactions between them, there's this going on. It's very subterranean, under the surface, unsure, uncertain energy. Nervousness, maybe even. This might be a very fast reading, y'all. Are these two good for each other? Seven of Cups. It's very uncertain. And I would say most of that uncertainty has to do with King of Cups. Because like I said, Knight of Cups is all in. But there's just this very... I don't know. The term I was going to use is like fog of war. And maybe that's because I'm thinking too much of what Pat Benatar's song "Love Is a Battlefield." That is Pat Benatar, right? Yeah, there's a bit of fog in this situation. There just isn't, at this moment, channels of communication aren't very clear. They're not very direct. You have one participant who is all in, or at the very least is like willing to put in the effort, and you have another participant who's like, we'll see. Maybe King of Cups thinks there's somebody better on the horizon, right? We can ask, is there somebody better on the horizon for King of Cups? Eight of Swords. I look at that, and that suggests to me that the King of Cups in this situation isn't seeing the situation clearly and is too caught up in their head. Too, like, you know, and maybe King of Cups had a really bad relationship in the past. And that is what is creating all of this, like, mental fog. And yet, I would say, you know, with the Moon card here, there is a suggestion. But like I said, it's just a suggestion. I don't even know, like, hey, look, I want these two to get together, but I don't know what else to ask, quite frankly. I guess I would ask, should Knight of Cups just find somebody else? The Star. The Star is a card of optimism, hope, faith, trust, healing. It's a card of nurturing. It's a pretty big card to receive for the question I had just delivered. I wouldn't necessarily call that a, you know, keep going for it, but I wouldn't say that's necessarily a give up either. It's actually kind of an annoying card to pull because it suggests that for Knight of Cups, for this person who's pursuing connection, pursuing relationship, whether this could be business, this could be love, this could be friendship, whoever this person is who is in, you know, hot pursuit of this person, whoever this King of Cups is, I would say, you know, first and foremost, it's very positive individually for a Knight of Cups. It's very positive in the sense that there's just all this encouragement, right? Whoop. There's all this encouragement going on within the spread. There's a lot of suggestion not to give up, but also a certain amount of suggestion to not be too entrenched in the outcome. It might not be exactly what Knight of Cups wants. Like, it might not be, you know, if this is a romantic thing, this may not be full romance. That might not be in the cards for them. There may be some kind of a pill that they have to make to this King of Cups character, right? That they're waiting for. They just haven't received it yet. There's a certain something they're waiting for and they have not received it yet. Because they're stuck in their own mental prisons about, like, you know, how things should be, what should be said here. It may be that this King of Cups person needs a very direct love offer. A very direct, just like, hey, this is how I feel about you, you know. And they just haven't gotten it yet. So I'm going to ask, you know, is that... Am I getting it? Is this in line? Five of Swords suggests that I am not getting it. There's something that I'm missing here. There's a nuance that is missing within the realm of within the scope of this reading. It also suggests that there is also overt conflict between these two figures. This is going back to the friction I was talking earlier about with the Devil card. These are two people who may have had a difficult interaction in the past. Or there may have not even been a difficult interaction. It just simply, going back to what I was saying earlier, King of Cups may just simply just be anxious. There's all this sword energy on the board. I mean, this is somebody who really has a guard up right now. I'm trying my best, but I can't seem to find something. I don't know what to advise this Knight of Cups figure. You know, if you're in pursuit, I don't know what to advise you right now. In terms of, like, how to, you know, what's funny though is, like, King of Cups people often say that's somebody whose heart is open and they're willing and ready to receive. And willing and ready to give too. But there's so many cards on this board that are just saying, like, ugh. I don't know. What do we do for this Knight of Cups figure? The Hangman, we can work with this. It's not my favorite answer, but we can work with this. The Hangman suggests put yourself in the other person's shoes. It is possible for the Knight of Cups that they simply have not seen it from the King of Cups perspective. They may be having trouble grasping and understanding completely and seeing with clear vision, right, with the star. This could be the advice being offered by the star here. Seeing with clear vision, how does this other person feel about the situation? Why are they putting up all these guards? It may not have anything to do with you at all. They may have just simply have been in a conflict recently, or they're in a conflict right now. And they're just not receptive. They want to be, but they're not. And Hangman is also a card of suspension, of waiting, of being caught in a moment, in kind of like a freeze frame, in a moment of just like, I'm not ready. Which has got to be really frustrating for somebody who is trying to pursue this connection, is trying to pursue this relationship. But like I said, I will put this over here. Yeah. Actually, I'm sorry, I gotta mess with the spread here a little bit. Okay. So if you're somebody who is pursuing connection right now, you're trying to develop a relationship here, and you feel like you're blocked off, or you're just not getting the responses that you want or are looking for, I would say it's not because of you precisely, although you might have something to do with it. It may be that there are aspects of you that remind this person of things from the past that made them uncomfortable. You may just have some things that are vaguely familiar, and it's not even your fault. It's just, oftentimes in any sort of connection that we build in life, we get attracted to things that are familiar. And as we become more aware and more conscious, right, and as we are more focused on trying to be aware and intentional in our lives, especially if we've come out of a really difficult relationship, we are more guarded towards those things that we are familiar to but are also attracted to, right? And that creates that friction for a lot of people. Going back to the Devil card here. And also going back to the Moon. The Moon also suggests this. This suggests that subconsciously both of these people are attracted to each other, or are orbiting each other, right? Because there is a sense of familiarity. But there's also this aspect of, okay, what part of the familiarity is dangerous? And that is primarily on the part of the King of Cups. I think that's all I got. I think that's the reading. I'm going to see what's on the bottom of the deck. Two of Wands. It's a card of making plans, future seeking, sort of like vision boarding. That's a suggestion for, if you're the person, and I could say you could be the King of Cups in this scenario, right? And if you are the King of Cups in this scenario, if you're listening to me do this reading and you're going like, oh, that kind of does sound like me, I would say, maybe look from the other person's perspective for a second. I know that you feel guarded about what's going on, but also, are you being too guarded? Are you not looking are you kind of blinding yourself from a really good, legitimate connection here? And maybe there are things that you're going to have to work out. And that's okay. Because the Star here really does sort of encourage that this is a nurturing connection. It may not be initially fun, or there may be difficulties, but it is nurturing. All right, that's all I got. Hope you're having a good weekend, blah, blah, blah. Talk to you later. Bye.